Good morning. We are taking a peek here today. I'd spoken of this a little bit before when we were doing our exponent properties regular notes about how there are several ways a lot of times you can do these problems and get different answers. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to take a couple of problems and see what happens when we tackle them different ways. So for instance, in this first problem here, most of the time I would suggest personally that once we get ones on these, that I take care of parentheses stuff first. So I would distribute like a crazy person here. Let me start to do some of this. 1 times 2 is 2. -4 times 2 is -8. 8 times 2 is 16. And then we would switch up and do the bottom exponents. So we'd have 6 squared. 3 times 2 is 6. Did I switch those around? Some of you are probably yelling through the screen, Hardy, that's x, and you're right. And 2 times -2 is -4. Okay, if I clean it up this way, nothing bad about doing this. Okay, so I look and I'm like, all right, well, let's see here. 3 squared is 9. 6 squared is 36. And then I have some decisions to make. Do I want to go straight to a division rule where I'm subtracting right away? Bigger minus smaller? With negatives, I'm not really a fan of that maybe as much. So maybe I make a decision now, hey, I'm going to do all of my flipping here at this point. So I'm going to look and I go, okay, x to the -8 is going to flip down. Y to the 16th is going to stay because it's positive. And then x to the 6th is going to stay. And y to the -4th is going to flip. Again, lots of options I even had there. Division rules, subtract, or do my flipping. Now to me, that made this easier for a couple of reasons. One, 9 over 36 reduces. Now if you're not sure about that, here's a calculator option for you. You always can do 9 divided by 36. Now you're going to get a decimal. We're not doing decimals with this. But what you can do is you can hit the math button. And if you hit enter twice with that, it's going to take it and put it into its simplest fraction form, which is 1/4. Now I notice with my y's, they're on the same level. Now it's multiplying, which is adding the exponents. 16 plus 4 is 20. And when I go down with my x's here, both on the same level, we're multiplying. So 6 plus 8, because multiply is add, is 14. Reduce, not the same base anymore. I'm done. Okay, that is one of, as this says at the top, many ways we could do this, but I'm going to show you one more and then kind of let you see here. So the next one, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to try and clean up everything that's inside first, then distribute my square. So I look and I'm like, okay, let's see here. 3 divided by 6 is 1/2. I could do the math enter if I wasn't sure. I still am a fan of flipping the negatives, just because a lot of you, if you would do this, you'd be like, okay, so 3 minus -4, and I can hear it now, is -1. I'm like, minus a negative would make it plus, so I'd want to do it that way. But, or do I want to do it? Yeah, let's do it that way. The flipping is fine, but I want to show you something different. So if I did it here, here's how I would tackle it. I'd say, okay, 3 is greater than -4. Don't just look at the numbers. You got to look at negative. I'd rather have $3 than owe somebody 4. So I'd have x to the 3 minus -4. I'm going to write it out in this case so I can see it. And then with my y's, 8 is bigger than -2. So I'd have y up top, where the bigger exponent is, 8 minus -2. Now, if you're looking at this right now and going, nope, Hardy, hate this, driving me nuts, just flip your negative exponents and get them taken care of. So let's see what we end up with here. 8 minus negative 2 would be the same as 8 plus 2, which is 10. Then down here, 3 minus negative 4 is the same as 3 plus 4, which is 7. And you can kind of start to see where we're heading here. Distribute my squared through. So we got 1 squared, which is 1. 10 times 2 is 20. Down in the denominator, 2 squared is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. And I get to the exact same thing. So it really is up to you how you want to tackle these. Okay? So just as an FYI here, just a second, I want you to know on the you try attempts down here what answer you should be getting. So let me do this. Let's grab something here. Actually, I'll do it on here. Let's do this. So Hardy's going to do a kind of speed version here. I want you to try a different way than I do as we're doing this stuff, but just to kind of give you an idea. Make sure I'm copying things right. That would help. Okay. That's the answer you are attempting to get to on this. So I want you, again, maybe take one, clean up what's inside first, then deal with it. You're like, Hardy, at least do one with us. Okay. So Hardy, how am I going to deal with this negative 1? Again, personal opinion. What I did originally up here was I took the negative 1 and I basically flipped the entire fraction. For someone who's just starting with this, would I suggest going that route? Probably not. What I would probably say at that point is distribute the negative 1 through first. 10 to the negative 1, x to the negative 9, y to the positive 3, because negative times negative is positive. And then I do the same thing in the denominator. 5 to the negative first, x to the negative 3, negative times negative is positive. And you know what the deal is at this point. I'm rid of the parentheses. So now what do? I start dealing with all the negatives, which there's a ton of them. So anything that has a negative exponent, I'm flipping. Anything that doesn't have a negative exponent stays right where it's at. Flip it, keep it. And now I'm ready to go into simplify mode. So 5 over 10, 5 divided by 10 is a half. Again, in the calculator with math enter, A-OK. X's, make sure that you're lining up correctly. 9 and 3, 9 is bigger. 9 minus 3 is 6. Y's, 5 and 3, 5 is bigger. 5 minus 3 is 2. So maybe on attempt number 2, you try cleaning up all the stuff inside, doing all your flipping and stuff, then distribute the negative at the end and kind of see which way you're finding is easier for you. Cool thing again with exponents, not like order of operations. You can actually do it a whole bunch of different ways, but as long as you're following the rules, you can get to the answer. So try out that last one, and we'll see you next time.